Uh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have any footage of it or anything like that. As they say, one of life's most beautiful moments, you just aren't able to capture or something like that, they say. But don't worry, I've created a step-by-step play slash depiction of what happened. So gonna be walking you guys through that. But before that, let me just set the stage, okay? It's the last day, the Grand Prix, great weekend. Feeling good, getting ready to head back now, get some food, heading back to my car. Matter of fact, here's a clip that I never even ended up using because I didn't even know where it would fit into. Walking to my car. To call it a weekend. This was great. This is amazing. Just look at the sights, bro. How beautiful is this shit? So yeah, as you can imagine, feeling all jolly and shit. It's just crazy, how within a matter of seconds, things can go so bad. Anyways, yeah, let's get right into it. Oh yeah, so it was like minutes away, like I think less than 30 minutes or kind of 30 minutes ish away from the border when this happened. So it had to be like, I think gotta be like this road when I had just entered. All right, so we're heading back, making our way towards the border, and I see this Ford Raptor, full car with what it looks like to be like a dad and his kids, and I just sensed that he wanted to play, so I go from fifth to third, and we're full throttle, and at top of third, I quote unquote shift to fourth, and as soon as I do, the car starts shaking violently, and there's like wheel hop, and I can feel the tires are locked up, and they're like being dragged along the asphalt, like um, as if the wheels, like aren't spinning fast enough for the speed that we're at. And so honestly, I was just stunned. Like I froze up. I did not know what to do. I remember probably as it was happening, thinking slow mo, like what the hell is going on?
Yeah. Uh,
All I remember is like I couldn't see the road, like as if I shrunk down a couple inches, and all I saw in front of me was like the interior of the car and the dash, and like anything above that was like blurry, as if it was like beyond my peripherals. Like, yeah, it was bad, real bad. So let's move on to what I did to make this happen. So I shifted from third to second instead of fourth. But yeah, there's a lockout for reverse, but you can actually go back into second. So yeah, I was honestly really asleep at the wheel. I remember like initially I was very confused because I also don't recall hearing any engine noise. I remember for a while after just thinking like, wow, like something must be wrong with the transmission. But yeah, no. And I just want you guys to imagine the speed as well too. Like again, we're talking the top of third. But yeah, moving on. So I'm like in a stun phase. The car is swaying left to right, vibrating like crazy, and every time it changes directions, it gets worse and worse. Incrementally more tire noise, and the more angle it's getting, like, and starting to swing like a pendulum. And so it maybe went left to right like that, like four times. And then at one point, I'm face to face pretty much with the guardrail in the center that divides the oncoming traffic, with the grass in the middle. And I'm looking at the barrier. The barrier's looking at me. And that's when I was like, oh, nah. And just, came full back online. I was like, this is not happening today. And just fully locked the fuck back in. So, first thing I did, shake the car into neutral. Mistake number one. Now, it's crazy because I've had a hunch since that putting it into neutral was what made the pendulum swing motion worse. As they're like essentially putting the car out of gear and into a free rolling motion. And it turns out I was spot on. Now, if I put it into neutral right away after I realized what I did, that would have prevented anything further from happening, and we would have been done with this right then and there. But again, like I didn't know what hit me at that point. And then so going into neutral after the car had already built up its side to side momentum was literally the worst possible thing I could have done. I realized because if I left it, the wheel speed would have eventually, matched down to the actual travel speed and somewhat help in stabilizing the car. But instead, now I've taken all the resistance out of the car, which did nothing but contribute, to the swing left and right motion of the car. This didn't really even hit me until I started putting this video together. But in this first clip I attempted to recreate to show you guys, I didn't like put the clutch in mid slide, and I had a bit of a hard time getting the car to whip around like it actually did, reenacting it. So in about like a week after this, I had a random thought about this and like went back to try it again, but with pressing in the clutch button, you know? And here's the second clip. You can see I was just literally just experimenting. I hadn't even changed the car to look the same at that point. Look how much more aggressive the whip back is, like even in the game. Pretty crazy Forza Horizon kind of holds up when testing stuff out like this. But yeah, so anyways, after making eye contact with the barrier, you know, we're in neutral. The car sways left, super aggressive, and I'm already there. My steering wheel is left all the way. I've been there, you know, or I match it probably just in time. And it goes right. Obviously, I'm there, right all the way. And just to let you know, I mentioned earlier, like how the car, like when it goes, the way it snaps very violently. I could not get to show that in the reenactment, but I'm telling you, like it was. Think about if someone like slingshotted the rear end of your car with like a huge rubber band. Like that's what it felt like. And yeah, the next momentum swing, I'm telling you, man, there was no saving this thing. Like it had already built up its momentum so much, it was just too late. And again, this is like coming from someone who anticipates kind of taking into account the weight transfer of the car in these kind of situations. And this car being like a 90s like American like suspension geometry slash like chassis, it snaps on you. It doesn't quite break away like, you know, like a German counterpart would say. This was easily the worst fishtail in any car I've experienced to date by far. And yeah, like I could have shifted back into gear, you know, even a third or something, but all this happened so fast. I can tell you with certainty, like anything like that was not even on my mind, as it was like just so unprecedented, you know. Like as far as I knew at that point, something could have been wrong with the transmission. And matter of fact, for a couple of days after this, I really thought it was like a possibility. Not in a million years would I've guessed like that I shifted into second. Wow, why am I posting this? So yeah, after that swing, my objective changed. I was like, at this point, my objective is to just bring this piece of metal slowed back down to a full stop. And yeah, honestly, this area right here, how it like divides into an exit, it honestly damn near looked like this with no divider and just like paint. Not until like a bit farther, matter of fact, than the depiction. So yeah, we're gonna go into photo now just to show you guys more in detail. Just a heads up that the day of time and stuff might not match up because it took me a couple tries and the clips might be different. But yeah, it was like pretty clear skies and sunny when it happened. So yeah, right here, I just remember thinking, oh yeah, I fucked up. And see the trail of smoke too. Honestly, it was just like this. The driver's side, honestly, bit exaggerated, but the passenger side, literally exactly like this. As I was like full brakes, and they were locked up, just skidding across the highway. Yeah, let's just stop and take in the fact of how crazy this looks, or actually would have been if this was happening to you in real life, on the highway, like skidding down with a strip of smoke like this. Oh yeah, and in terms of any, you know, possible collateral damage, honestly, I got pretty lucky here. There was like three cars exactly like this, pretty much, if anything, a bit closer. And at this time, my adrenaline was like fully kicked in, right? So my reaction time and vision was like on some spidey sense type of timing where I can like see everything happening that was going on like pretty spot on. And I remember like as I was skidding in that moment, I could tell those three cars were braking and reducing their speed greatly because like what they were witnessing right in front of them. Like even as I was like full mid slide, I could tell that they were like coming to like such an abrupt like slow down situation. In terms of what was in front of me, I mean the Raptor, he was already in front of me to begin with. I was really just playing catch up to try and do something as he was also speeding up. So they were probably in the well in the clear as this was happening. I would have to assume had no visual of that, but I mean they were probably up and ahead by about that much. But yeah, whether from the braking or whatnot, the car honestly just ended up slowing down a lot. And then towards the end, whether it was like due to the front momentum and also just the wheel having been full locked to the left at this point, the car honestly, the front end of it honestly just kind of came back around to like pointing the front of the highway. So out of habit, I just clutch in back into first and honestly took right off. Like the car didn't even stop at one point. Probably just kind of seared into my brain from back in like the simulator days. But the sim guys who drift and stuff can probably relate. But when you pull like a crazy maneuver or just like, you know, spin out, you habitually like, you know to just pressing the clutch, avoid stalling so you can get going right away and stuff. So yeah, in terms of like damage report, somehow we got away scot-free without a scratch. As I'll show you guys later in a bit outside. All right, guys, by no means am I saying this is an excuse of like why it happened, but just giving an example of why my specific setup could be more prone to you doing some stupid shit like this. So I have a video covering this a little bit more in depth, I guess. But basically this is a Steeda short throw, and then I have a Hurst like shifter stick attached to it. So typically the stick you would see on here, it's a lot shorter. And honestly, yeah, it feels a lot more notchier as the travel is a lot shorter.
But essentially what I've done here by putting this is make the throw like a lot longer, right? So the travel is like that, just that much, you know, more distance. As much as it still has a short though, guys, don't do this. Just personally, like, our decision to do this though, I just knew from the get-go, like, this is more a car for, you know, the experience and like the raw analog driving aspect of it, you know, rather than like performance or anything like that. So this was kind of my, you know, interpretation of, you know, those, like, you see those early 2000s exotics with the Lambos and the Ferraris with the gated shifters with like the metal clinks like every time you shift. It's kind of like, you know, you could call this like a low budget American interpretation of it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So it's more for like, you know, the feel of it than anything, you know. And it's great. It's just with the things we get up to sometimes in this car, you know, it's just definitely obviously not ideal.
But yeah, as much as this was driver induced, I guess I think my efforts to recover it barely kept it in a straight enough of a trajectory where, like, luckily I didn't end up hitting anything. Okay, now the embarrassment I felt as I caught back up to the Raptor, which, by the way, I could tell they wanted nothing to do with me after what they just saw. Like, literally the classic Mustang shit, fully just contributing to the stereotype, you know, could not make this up. Not just them too, like the other cars that are around and like behind. And as I said, we're all close to the border, and most of us were heading back. And there was like a fat line at the border, which ended up piling and building up massive traffic. And we honestly ended up waiting there for hours. But so pretty much all those cars saw me again at the waypoint. You know, we're probably like, this fucking idiot. Yeah, definitely a lesson learned. You know, always drive with full focus. I mean, it's definitely a car, you know, that requires more of your attention than the average modern car, I'd say, to begin with, anyways. And one that isn't so kind when you make mistakes. But yeah, imagine how bad this could have been in hindsight. You know, like in a whole nother country, especially that road being close to the border, like there really isn't anything for miles if something like that happens. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, that pretty much sums up what happened. I will say though, that reminds me, after crossing maybe like not even 30 minutes into the drive, I saw, I think was a Mercedes GLC something far off in a ditch with hazards on. So yeah, just imagine for them, like, it was getting dark. We're pretty much also in the middle of nowhere at that point, having just crossed. I imagine from waiting so long at the border, they were a little too excited, got on it a bit too hard around like a banking turn. So typical that was a Mercedes too. But I should probably pipe down after what I did. But what else? I mean, I almost ran out of gas on the way back. Barely made it to Stewart's. There's like a local franchise gas station upstate, like 15 minutes before closing, in the literally middle of nowhere. Because I had to take an exit off the main highway. Because I swear my gas tank went from like a bit below a quarter to damn near empty with the light on in a matter of minutes. Coasted for at least like, had to been like 10 minutes off the highway just to get there. But yeah, it was definitely a brutal trip back home overall.
Oh yeah, so it's the same turd you guys been seeing. As I was saying, got off scot-free. Oh, and where is it? Yeah, see this stuff? It's all been there before. It's funny actually, like some video, let me see, there's like some of them dings in. I'm trying to show you guys. See that? Yeah, some of them, it's crazy, like this. I noticed, I think I said in one of my videos before, but like I like didn't realize it was there. And then yeah, rough piece of shit. But and like I thought it was me, and then I like just referred to some old videos, and it's like been there. So even in just that aspect, I mean, it's cool just to be documenting even for your personal purposes, record your car stuff. Yeah, but we're not quite done yet, because I'll show you guys. Notice the wheel is straight more or less. Oh yeah, this doesn't even cut it. It's really more like, sits like the yellow stripe like up here. Yeah, the alignment, you gotta imagine, right? We're skidding to the left. I was full lock to the left, so that definitely did something to it. It was actually funny. Before I left for the trip, you guys probably couldn't tell, but on the way, like you could tell, if you look at the steering wheel, it's actually a little bit crooked to the right, because the coolant hose issue that I had, that I mentioned in the kind of towards the end of the clutch upgrade video, because I had to have it towed, and so it was like a little bit off. But now it's like, now I really need to get alignment done, obviously. So it's that. And then after I came back, I wasn't around for a while, and I came back, drove a car a couple times, and noticed the car was like bleeding pretty bad. There's some sort of leak underneath, and I thought it was like the oil, like some sort of like an engine oil or like coolant. or a mix, but it turns out it's actually just a power steering leak from the rack and pinion, which was actually present before, but it just kind of worsened from what's happened. So I mean, I was real nervous for a while, but after finding out that it was the power steering leak, I'm not sweating it a one bit, just because it was an issue that was there before, and I was always kind of been on the list to get it done, and that was for sure a big sigh of relief. Can we just mention real quick the reliability of this engine? I mean, like, I'm talking top of third, right? Wind it out straight into second. Like, not to mention, after so within 30 minutes, right? We're all waiting by the border. It was like high 70s, maybe low 80s, maybe. We're just like sitting in the sun, like cooking. Like, I mean, I was going nuts in the car with like no AC and everything. And I could only imagine how the car was, just sitting like that. But I mean, I didn't really even I didn't even really start turning it off when we're just like standing still towards the end anyways. So it was just like sitting, like idling for a minute and literally nothing. So even after the little mishap a little bit before. So yeah, kind of amazing. I mean, granted, we did get the tune-up done. My brother spent like weeks just, even though we didn't have like the right tools to do so it kind of took a while, and just allocating the necessary parts, like calling all the dealerships and stuff. And obviously by the shop, like the oil filter gasket, like the leak that was causing it to have the coolant mix with the oil a little bit before, and which you could see in the coolant tank. So like, yeah, those two things obviously. And man, this thing, bulletproof, I'm telling you. I mean, as it should be, and as people already know it to be. But yeah, it just couldn't have been possible without that. So yeah, just real glad. So yeah, speaking of like having to get like the alignment done and all that stuff, car's probably gonna be out of action for a while, just because I've been planning to upgrade the struts and shocks for a while. And I thought, why not kind of use this as a perfect opportunity to get it done, since you would need like an alignment done afterwards anyways. And I was thinking about getting new springs in the front anyways too. So for the struts and shocks, I've been thinking of going with like Bilsteins probably. I'm going to be taking care of the rack and pinion as well with the outer tie rods. So it's obviously, you can imagine, it's not going to be something little. So yeah. And also like, yeah, I can drive with it right now, but it's just, like with the how steering wheel looks like crooked like that, it's just so goofy, man. Especially the things we've been getting up to with this car recently. Before I get going, I just wanted to add, this car, like, in its own way, like, scares the shit out of me.
So much torque, the chassis twisted coming off the line.
And it's crazy because it's not like a high horsepower type of scary. It's like, even thinking about the steering wheel that I'm looking at right in front of me, which, I mean, obviously I had my reasons for switching it out. It was like honestly unrecoverable / unrestorable how it was. And like, to get a new one, why not just get an upgrade instead of getting like a stock one? And either route is like a lot of money. And what I have now is like an alternative I wanted to pursue at the time. But not even just apart from safety in that aspect, like even just driving it, man, like there's never once where I'm like, I feel I don't have to let my guard down completely, or like there's not once when I'm driving it like where I feel, oh, like it's like stable or like safe, if that makes any sense. Like even if we're like cruising at like normal speeds or something. Hard to explain. And I'm sure it's the addition of like lack of sound deadening compared to modern cars, plus it's ride quality, suspension geometry. But yeah, and it's crazy because like it's not the turning too hard in winter in second gear into a corner from an intersection, sliding the rear end out, or going from second or third on a rainy day driving straight and the car having slid its rear end out real quick, which both times I've saved and like caught immediately. And those ones are the best, because it's when things like that happen when you least suspect it, you just end up like laughing like an idiot because you're like, oh, that almost went really bad, But yeah, but wasn't any of those moments, but it was like freaking going to third to fourth. But yeah, I guess truly just a reminder that like these cars like this that were made back in the day, it's truly a car that you have to really stay vigilant and requires all of your attention. Yeah, but I guess just like anything else in regards to like having my confidence stripped, it's just something I gotta rebuild back up slowly, and hopefully the addition of like getting the new springs and struts and shocks will help with that. Don't you guys think the steering wheel is like so like 2015? Like I just can't explain it any other than that. I feel like it's like the best way to explain it, right? Like in that time, like this was like the move, and now it's like carbon fiber with like OEM plus, they actually do the custom ones with like the matching parchment interior kind of, and so that's what it would do. But it's just, I don't know. But then again, I feel like it's like it doesn't match this car's vibe. Like it's like almost too nice for it. If I ever made like the switch though, I would definitely like keep this one just for like the memories. Like that was like definitely like a choice initially. So yo, who the hell am I saving this for, bro? It's about time. Oh, a little malfunction there, guys. Gotta get the sound. Yeah, I won't lie. That was actually like pretty satisfying. I won't lie. I mean, I'm totally the type of person who kind of leaves stuff like this on. Only reason I'm honestly even kind of entertained it is because I see that the leather wheels kind of like being worn down anyways. Yeah, the other day I was went out for like a quick drive, right? But it's like kind of all of a sudden it's very cold, and so like but the way I was driving was kind of like aggressive, so like I guess I started like palms were getting a little sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy. So like I guess the leather kind of came off of whatever, and then yeah, I was freaking out. There's like little powders on my palm. I got it cleaned up when I got home, but yeah. Yo, damn, it actually looks freaking good now.
See, that's the problem right there. What is that? The turbinator. See, the turbinator hooked up to the motor. The motor ain't pushing enough pressure out for the gas pedal.